Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Ray Cruz. I'm an integrative psychotherapist, stroke counsellor, who works with couples as well and also with relationships, etc. This channel is all things therapy related and counselling related, so there will be videos moving forward in and around different things to consider, different things to think about, with regards to yourself, with regards to your relationships, different points of view, different ways of looking at things, possible hints and tips, etc. With regards to maybe enhancing yourself so that you become more empowered, or maybe different ways to view your relationship with regards to either realising that it's there's work to be done there and room for growth and development within it, or alternatively it may be that the relationship is at its end and you kind of need something to help you realise that. So it's going to be all things, as I said, therapy related and counselling related, with hopefully to help you to move forward. So today's video is about 5 things to consider before counselling. So number 1 is one of the most important, and that would be asking yourself, am I ready for it, and what do I want to gain from it? So if you're asking yourself, am I ready for it, that would be, has anything significant happened recently? I.e., has there been a bereavement? Has there been an issue at work, an issue within your relationship, an event that's happened to yourself that you feel like you just can't seem to move past by yourself? You may have spoken to family and friends, colleagues. Then again, you may not have family, friends or colleagues to talk to, and you just can't seem to move past it. And so the question would be, am I ready to speak to someone professional about this? And then on the back of that, if you are wanting to speak to someone professional, what is it you actually want to gain from? Do you want to move forward from the particular event, or do you want to know how to process it and then move forward? Alternatively, it may be that you're feeling anxious, you're feeling depressed, you're constantly feeling angry. There's something inside you just can't seem to figure out what's going on. So it may be that you need to see a therapist who works maybe psychodynamically, who will look a little bit deeper than what's going on currently for you, and you can work through that together to figure out if there's something that's happened in childhood, for example, or whether patterns are formed from childhood through adolescence into your adulthood, which are now no longer serving you and in fact are hindering you. So this would be something to think about as well. So a lot of things to ask yourself if you are ready for it and what you want from it. So number 2 would be, you've decided that you are ready to to find a professional. You are ready to move forward. You know what you want, or you've got a good idea at least of what you want from therapy, what goals you want to gain from it. So the next thing would be have you got any preferences? So do you prefer a male or female therapist? Does age matter? Finance, does the cost of sessions matter to you within a reasonable degree? Do you have a budget for it? Do you have a time frame in mind? Again, so that would affect your potential fees stroke budget. Location, so for example, are you considering, say you wanted face-to-face, have you got a radius from where you live or where you work that you're willing to travel? Alternatively, if you're thinking face-to-face, or are you not thinking face-to-face, are you thinking that you'd only do telephone or online, or you've no preference, you're happy to do either? Have you, another one would be modality, so have you maybe had CBT previously or person-centered previously? you felt that's either worked or not worked. Would going back to that approach benefit you again, or would it not? So these are things to consider, different preferences. Maybe write them down, or you may know instinctively what you want, who you want, an idea of what's in your mind with regards to your preferences, both by way of therapist, by way of finances, by way of location, modality, etc. Once you've kind of decided this, number 3 would be, where do you find them? Where do you find a therapist? Where do you find a counsellor? So first one was pretty straightforward. Have you used somebody previously? And have you used somebody previously effectively? Have you worked really well with them? Quite simply, go back to them. If that's all well and good. Another one would be something along the same lines, would be word of mouth. So have friends, family that you know that do speak openly about therapy and about counselling. Have they used somebody themselves and they really like? The 2 elements of thought I have with this is, one, that it's good that that they are connecting well with their therapist, but that isn't always going to be the case with you, that you necessarily connect with them, because as we spoke about in point number 2 with regards to your preferences, what if this person is different from what you have in mind? Are you open-minded enough to maybe try that? Because it may be you wanted a male and they've got a female, and vice versa, you may want a female and they've got a male. Or are you instinctively sticking to your own preferences as opposed to word of mouth? And on the back of word of mouth, I'd be inclined to ask, what is it that they find it beneficial from their therapist? Is it they feel as though they are moving through their issues and through the problems, or is it that they have a good connection, they know what they're talking about? Things like that. I'd get involved with regards to find out why it is that they recommend their therapist, as opposed to, oh yeah, they're really good. I'd be wanting a bit more if you was going to take up someone's recommendation, particularly if you have your own preferences. Another one would be Google, of course, or your different search engines, and literally typing in counselling in whatever town or city you're from, and seeing what websites are around that maybe jump out at you. Likewise, on the back of that, I'd be inclined to maybe look at some of the directories, because there you can search counsellors and therapists by their location. A lot of times you've got different drop-in boxes, so you can filter it down to distances of areas, to issues that they deal with, to fees, etc. So you've got directories such as Psychology Today, Counselling Directory, BACP, NCPS, are just a couple for you to maybe consider, have a look at. And then also you do have social media as well. Similar to how you'd be doing that with regards to Google and with regards to your directories. If you see certain people on social media, they are worth considering. But that moves on to point number 4, which ties in with point 3. And that would be to do your research and trust your gut. So going back through the previous points, up to this point we've decided that you do feel ready and you know what you want. You've got your preferences in mind. You've got your different places that you've searched, that your directories or your Google, word of mouth, etc. Now you've got certain people in mind from your different filters now with this. So it would be, make sure you read the profiles thoroughly on the different directories if you've done that. If you have done that, then see what the modalities are, make sure they're in line with what you've got in mind. Or again, alternatively, are you open-minded to maybe try a different modality? For example, you might have had CBT or person-centred, whatever you've as mentioned previously before, and it's worked or it's not worked. The other thing would be, if it hasn't worked previously, Was that down to you not being ready, not being fully committed to it? Was it down to your relationship with the therapist at the time? Was it down to the modality itself? Did it not sit right with you? So it'll be a case of researching the different ones, reading up on everything, and then trusting your gut. You've got quite a bit of information from doing all these different searches and doing the reading. Trust your gut. I quite liken this to almost like a spiritual decision. I don't tend to be too spiritual in therapy. Elements of it are there, but I think it is almost like a spiritual decision in a way then, because you've got all this information, you've got your gut feeling, and you kind of just are then ready to give it a shot. So you may not get it right, it may not work, but the chances are it will. More often than not, once you've done all this and you know you're ready and you've done your searching and you pick your preferences and you get that feeling for that person, then take the step, take the plunge, and more often than not it tends to be a successful one. So before you do that, so you've done your research, you've done your searching, you've got your preferences in mind, you've put all that together in a package, and you've whittled it down now to your final 2 or 3. And again, before you make contact with any of them, what I would suggest then is you go back to point number 1. So this is point number 5, but we're cheating a little bit because we're going to go back to point number 1, and that would be, am I ready for it, and what do I want from it? Because as you've been doing your searching, you'll be asking yourself these questions again, and you'll be thinking you've got one idea of a person in mind, and your potential may shift a little bit to somebody else. So as you've done this very shifting, as you come to the end, you start again with that thing of, right, am I ready for this, and what do I want from it? So you've got a good idea that the person that you're going to pick, that you've got a good chance of moving forward together. So there's a couple of things to consider. I hope that that this helps, and this helps you pick the right counsellor for you. By all means, let me know how you get on. And as I'm used to now saying, is like and subscribe, please, and I'll see you in the next one.